Okay, the recording's on. I'll just say that, welcome to the cataloging SIG. We're currently talking about how cool it can be to use Google Analytics on the OPAC. Okay, Yuyan.
Oh gosh, I just want to share this, but I'm just learning, so only two months. So I found the result data was like amazing, because when we first our director wants to track actually how we use the 856, the link for the like ebook, all those online things. We have those electronic resource. His purpose, he said, is there any way we can track in Koha, like get a report or something, like how many times the link was clicked. So Koha cannot do that right now. So they said maybe you can try Google Analytics. So that's how we start. I still don't know how to track like tag 856 in Koha in the OPAC, but at least I can get a general idea like how our OPAC be used. So that's a kind of surprise byproducts, I guess.
Related to that, I think Koha, I have it set up. Koha does have a system preference called TrackClicks, and you can set it to track anonymously, and then you can run a report on that.
Really? Okay. I would want to know more about that. That way, maybe work on the 856. I can track.
It might get you a little more like specific data.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looks bad. It looks like you can look at each individual URL in your catalog and see how many times it was clicked. Basically, that's the report I've got set up. Again, one of those things I don't really look at, but the system preference, I'll put it in the chat so that it's in the logs and stuff, is TrackClicks. And then I just have this simple report where it takes the bib number, the URL, an account of all that, so and then groups by bib number.
Okay, that's the reports you wrote for that. And so do you go to any place like system preference to set anything first before you run this report?
Right. So the first line there, TrackClicks, is the system preference you're looking for.
Oh, you just call TrackClicks. Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay. And then every time when I come to this meeting, which is awesome.
And we have ours set to track anonymously, but it has the option to also track keep track of the bib and the patron. Like,
what do you
together.
mean anonymously? I mean,
so it doesn't keep track of which patron clicked on the link. It just tells us the link was clicked.
Okay.
But the system preference does,
yeah,
it's like one of those patron privacy issue things. But it does allow you to track it, so you can see which patron clicked on the link if that's what you need.
Yeah, we just know that link, how many times people click. That way they will say, okay, we can keep this resource, or we should cut and for next year, on the budgeting side. So that's really helpful. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, my only concern with that is that it would tell me that somebody's looking at these resources. It doesn't tell me my members are.
Right.
So it depends on the kind of library you are, whether that's something you can take directly.
Yeah.
I could probably do patron tracking and then strip the personal data out of it after I crunch the numbers, though. That might be worth trying.
Yeah, and I would guess if you do track which patron actually clicked it and the patron wasn't logged in, it wouldn't know which patron clicked it, so it probably wouldn't have any data in that field.
I'm surprised. I'm actually getting a fair number of emails about people. How do I log in? And I said, you just go. It's open. How does that work? It works really good.
Yeah, sometimes it just surprise, we will take for granted, like people knows this. Actually, a lot of people don't, so sometimes
No, it's going to be a long time before my catalog gets so busy I have to restrict access to members. We should all be so lucky.
Wow, I'm so glad you brought that up, Yuyan, because I hadn't turned that on or turned on anonymously, and I just went and turned it on for anonymously. And
yeah.
thank you for the report, Jason. I just put that in and ran it. It's like, oh wow. Well, another thing that had come up before we started recording was another thing that Yuyan mentioned, that in using the duplicate item, duplicate an item, it's also duplicating the barcode, which then has to be edited. I haven't used that feature much since upgrading to 20.05. I was wondering if anybody else did and found that to be true.
That's been duplicating the barcode for me as long as I can remember.
Not seeing that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I did a quick search in Bugzilla, and I'm not quickly finding a bug for that, but there may be one. If not, then that might be a good one too.
No, he said the duplicate. When I duplicate, they duplicate the koha item number. It's not the barcode number.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah. Sorry,
Thank you.
That kind of, in the beginning, that also confused me. I said, because when we used to think a barcode number is the item number, right? Actually, it's a different thing in koha. Barcode number in koha was like P, as I don't know what they call it. P stands for barcode, and number 9 was koha item number, which every koha gave, I think every item, this item automatically generate the number. So this number, for instance, I open one of the item, the number was 22262, the item number from koha. Then I duplicate this. Then this 22262 will be duplicated to the next one. Then if I don't, certainly I give a barcode also for this new copy. But if I don't get rid of this 22262 in the item number, which once I save, they will say, hey, we need a unique item number. So once I get rid of it, then the system will automatically generate a new item number for the new copy I create, which is correct, So that's the one thing I noticed after we upgrade to the new version. Before, since they will leave that blank, and once you save, they give you a new number. So that's the thing here.
Well, we had another suggested discussion topic today, Z3950 imports.
Yeah, this is off my pink post-it note. When I'm importing things, it will often import a lot of local data that I have no use for, and which is just a source of confusion. And I'd also like to insert a few things like the classification source and in our own code. And I'm wondering if there is a way to do that, to omit some fields from being imported and to force some fields into particular values.
That sounds to me like the batch modification tool, which again is another thing I haven't really played with, but Anne mentioned using quite extensively in a previous meeting. Let's see, I think there have been some, and I want to say maybe Bywater did some videos on it. Let's see if we can find those.
I'll look again.
Yeah, I think well, you can do that. I think I did that. I think set up a template or something like that, which when I import something, I will apply that template. They will take the template, show me, maybe take off the 0. And for instance, I took of like 0.42 off, and few field I don't need. Then I just in the template ask the takeoff when they do the matching, and they get rid of some. Also, I insert, for instance, maybe I insert notes, 590 notes, or maybe on the 850, yeah, also on a, like a ebook 856. For instance, for the Nexus digital library ebook, I will add the notes on the 856 Y subfield says, click current edition, click here for current edition of this title, something like that. So whatever you want to write. So every time I do that, they just automatically, once I use that template, they automatically will get rid of some field tag and add some tag I need. So I think it can be done. And let me just look through, maybe I can find a template.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I'd look for that template.
Yeah, go to tools and MARC modification templates. Then you can do, if I can share my screen, I can show you I have a few templates, quite a few.
Templates for modifying MARC data on input. Yeah, that's what I need.
Yeah, you just go there, create the templates there, and when you import that, the MARC import place the matching, any matching rules, not the rules, I think the templates you want to use, select the templates already created, and then they will do the job for you.
Great. That will get me in the right place, and somebody found a video for me. Excellent.
Bruce, are you talking about like importing directly from Z3950 though?
Yeah.
Because I think this is like importing records, a batch of MARC records, and then applying the rules at the point of import.
That's what
I know that we had Tomas come to one of these meetings a while back, and he shared a way where you, when you set up a Z3950 target, you can add some XSLT. It's like the last field when you're setting up a target that lets you transform things. And I can't find the exact link to it, but I found this link, which is someone else's GitLab. But the style sheet is there, and it talks about deleting the 995 field on Z3950 import. So that may be also what you're looking for. I tried this, but I couldn't get it to work. So I don't have any more information past that.
I'll dig. Thank you. Oh, and Heather and I were talking earlier about the problem of the call number scan. When I started using it, it popped up the right section of the call numbers and showed me where my new call number was. Now, whenever I go to it, it shows me the first 20 call numbers, my entire system. It doesn't matter where I call it from. It goes to A through whatever. And I've also noted that even though I can click on a button on that panel to get the right section, it doesn't always show me all the records. So this sounds like a major bug somewhere. But maybe somebody's got some ideas that or know something I don't.
Yeah, and this is not the item search call number. It's off of the item record.
Right. Let me see if I can pull up an example here.
trying to see if I can find where it's described in the manual.
Okay, let me share my screen for a moment. I'll show you what I mean.
Yes, please.
Okay, here's an item record.
We're not seeing your screen yet.
Not seeing my screen yet. Okay, what am I doing wrong? I click on share screen, and I think this is the one you want. Does that work?
Yes, now we've got
Okay.
it.
So here's a record for a typical book from my collection. And we've got a whole special call number just for Arthurian studies. And I click these 3 buttons over here. And instead of going to the middle of HEAR, it goes to A. And if I search on here.
Did you guys see anything? Like the small window is black.
Yeah, we're only seeing a small black window with a little hand pointing in the black, but I can understand. I can understand describing the problem now and how you got there.
Yeah, and sometimes when I do run, when I click on the search button on the call number browser screen, it will pull up the right section, but sometimes they'll be out of order or missing. Let me stop sharing since it isn't doing any good. So,
okay,
Bugzilla again, right?
Maybe. I'm going into my catalog. In your source of classification, your subfield 2 in the item records, correct?
There's a good question. It is not. Let me put that in. Save changes and try again. And that was it. It now pops up in the right place. Good. I learned something.
Excellent. Yeah, that is something that
I learned that I screwed up again, but that's not the problem.
No, I had learned about that. I had stumbled across that issue that the source of classification in the item record has to be absolutely correct for it to understand what it should be sorting and how to sort it.
Yeah. Well, it certainly shouldn't be blank. That's true.
Okay. One question. For Bruce just showed your like item record. I saw 3 dots, which
Right.
after full call number.
Click on that.
I don't have that 3 dots. Why I don't have it?
You have to enable it. We did this last month, and I've slept since then. So help me remember. Let's see if I can find that.
Yeah, I haven't turned it on because that's not something that I've been really using. I've been using the item search to do a shelf list browse for shelf listing, or call number browse for shelf listing.
So what's that used for, Bruce? What you turn that on? What's that for?
Hang on, I got lost. That's to make sure I'm not duplicating a call number.
Oh.
I don't have controls on authors, and some of my cataloging numbers are not done by author, so I have to verify that it's fresher if I have to add a cutter.
I should have turned it on then. What you go to admin? How do you turn it on?
I'm looking for that now. Let me go look some more.
Okay.
Bywater did a very useful video about call number browsing recently. I'll put that link in the chat.
Here we go.
While Bruce is looking for that system preference, I'll also mention the one other question that I had gotten ahead of time is kind of sysadmin-y. Some people had noticed that after upgrading to 20.05, they had to do a lot of restarts, especially dealing with the Z3950 gateways. Wondering if other people had noticed that as well.
I don't. It seems normal to me.
Yeah.
We've had problems with that. We had our infrastructure move last night or the night before, and our Z3950 target was working fine. So like other library, our state ILL uses that to pull our data out for sharing purposes. So it was working fine in the morning, but then it died in the afternoon. So we had to have it restarted. And they're kind of monitoring it at this point to see if it dies again. But it does seem to be like a common occurrence for us at this point where it'll go down after an upgrade or something happens on the server and we just have to get it restarted again. And I would love a button where I, as the administrator, could just push it and say, start over. That'd be great.
I put a bug in, this is regarding your earlier discussion about not bringing in certain fields from a Z39 import. And that's something we want to, because we get all kinds of gobbledygook and we have to strip it out.
Yeah.
So I started a ticket with Bywater, and we got into the XSLT when you can transform the results using the XSLT when you set up your Z39 server, but that wasn't really doing what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I remember them saying that was really more for authority records.
Yeah.
So they came back to me and we talked about using the XSLT, and then the ticket was, you know, kind of sitting there for a while. And then they came back and said they were looking using MARC modification templates to do, it'd be a development, but to use MARC modification templates to do that. And then I remember several months ago, Anne was here and she was talking about things, and it sounded like whichever group is over there in New Zealand, that they were already sort of working on some kind of a development. So
Okay.
I added to the ticket and I asked Nick if he could look into that. And that 17485 ticket is what he came back with and said that, you know, that's kind of out there being looked at, but I don't think really much has happened on it. I think that'd be a really good one. So you might, you know, add a me too or a comment to that particular one. I think I'll follow up again and just ask. He kind of said it was going to actually get assigned, but I'm not sure. Let's see. It is assigned, but I don't think much has happened. Yeah. But we agree, we would like that functionality.
Does anybody have anything that they'd like to bring to the group?
I'm still looking for that system preference for the dots.
I think that it is set up in your frameworks. I think you set it up on the subfield as a, it's like a plugin. I can share my screen.
Yes, please.
Pulled up here. If I can find it again. Too many tabs. I don't actually have it set up, but I guess we could turn it on and see if it works. Let's see. Okay, so that's not the right tab, but you see my modify Z3950 screen here. Okay, now let me find the right tab. This one. Okay, so I went to administration, MARC frameworks, and then I'm just in my default framework. I navigated to the 952 subfield. And then it looks like it's the CIN browser is the plugin, and you want to put that on your O, which is your call number field. So I'm just going to save it and see if I break anything. And then if I edit this item, now I have the 3 little dots here.
Okay.
And it's not actually doing anything. I bet it has to like build it since I've never used it before.
Yeah, there it is. If
So
you
yeah,
pull down
and
a little more, you'll see where you are. And you apparently have got two entries with that identical call number.
Oh, that's very useful.
And if it's a unique call number, you just get a red line across between the before and after.
And I'm in the consortium, so we're never going to have unique call numbers. But yeah, that's how you set it up.
Yeah. But for one-person libraries, that's a big help.
I'll leave it on and see if my catalogers notice the new dots. I bet they won't.
I've probably brought some of these bugs up before, but I always would love for other people to go into Bugzilla and comment on them. This one is the ability to rename a macro. When you've created it, and then if you decide, well, that's not really what I want to call it, you have to start from scratch, and it would be nice to be able to just rename it.
Oh, yes. I just added myself to the CC list on that. I would love that one.
And this one has to do with, it'd be nice to be able to have some ability to use either like background colors or different font colors or something like that in certain areas of your MARC record. We have some certain notes that are brought over in our order record, and they're in MARC fields that we don't use, but they come over specifically in those fields, and we know to look for them. It's kind of a communication from the selector to the cataloger. They'll disappear when we overlay the record, but during that initial part, it would be helpful to be able to sort of highlight certain things. And so that's that 26373.
Yeah, that one would be fantastic. Because even if, I mean, I'm thinking that I don't really use order information. I wouldn't use it in that way, but I would love to just have different areas of the MARC record or different groups of tags, like have the font in different colors just for easier scanning and navigation.
Like I'm thinking for a special library like yours, you know, like for notes or donor notes or, you know, something like that, you know, could be very useful to when you're looking at the record, it's just easily seen.
Exactly. Or I'm working on our authority cleanup. If I could have the local subject headings, in a different color to leap out. So I was like, oh, there's one I should take care of right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This one goes back to Z39 again. We'd like to see the ability to group certain Z39 targets so that if I'm doing Spanish, I know that I've got this group that I'll go to, or if I'm doing media or whatever, that I could have certain groups that I would define.
Yep. I do a lot of foreign language work. That'd be helpful.
I imagine that would also be useful for a consortium setting because different types of libraries in the consortium might have similar needs in Z3950.
Yes, most definitely. I need to copy myself on that bug for sure.
You know me, I'm always pushing bugs, so.
And we appreciate it.
This one has to do with in 2005, you can have your Z39 targets, and when you set them up, you can say that your some of them are default. You can do that if you want to, so they're pre-selected. But when you're cataloging, you could maybe not find what you need from those pre-selected targets. So you're selecting other targets, and those would stay selected throughout until you went in and unchecked them. And that was helpful to us because I don't always want, maybe something checked, but now I'm doing Spanish. And so I want to go and select, a couple different targets that I don't normally use. And those would be retained while I'm doing that cataloging. But after the 2005 upgrade, every time you select something new, it disappears and you have to reselect it every single time. And it's just a real time efficiency problem for us. So that one, we're really hoping it used to work. And I think in the beginning they said, well, it was sort of like intended to never work that way. But since we had come up in 2016, it had always worked that way. So for us, it was intended behavior, and now it's gone. And I think they are looking at it as a, it's a bug because it used to work and now it's broken.
Yeah, and that bug has had some traction, but it looks like it could use some attention.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything else? Anything they'd like to bring to the group?
I guess I started writing a bug. I don't know if you all remember way back when I was like, hey, it'd be great if Z targets could be part of Mana KB. And I was going to write a bug and I never did. So I thought maybe we could walk through entering that bug together so everybody sees how easy that is.
Yes.
So let me share my screen again. And that way I can feel more confident with you guys like backing me up on it too.
We're here to cheer you on and support you.
Okay, so this is you see the Bugzilla main page, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if I want to open a new bug, I will click File a Bug, and then it is Koha. And then I have to pick my component. So this is going to be ManaKB because that's where I would like to see this added. I don't know that the version really matters on this one because it's like an enhancement request. So I'm just going to mark it as master. If I were filing a bug that I found on my system and I'm running 2005, I would definitely leave that version as 2005 just so they know that it might be happening in my version, but it's not happening in master. And then I wrote some verbiage here already, so I'm just gonna paste that in. And if you're worried about duplicating a bug ticket, don't be, because there's people that go through and deduplicate them all the time. And it does give you some like options here to check against to see if maybe there is a ticket already. So I called this one Z3950 servers would be a great addition to ManaKB. And then I just wrote some wording here. And it's kind of extensive, but not really. I just kind of talked about how I thought it would be great, what I would kind of like to see as far as filters go on that, and how there's kind of a need for this because there's not really a central location. And the fact that the Koha community is global makes us like the perfect people to be building this kind of database collaboratively. So
I've always heard that more is better in the description to help people unfamiliar with it who are working on, the developers may especially not be familiar with how this might actually be used.
So I'm going to, I'm not going to prove myself for typos. I'm just going to hit submit a bug and there we go. So it added the bug to the bug tracker. It automatically copied me on it because I'm the one who filed the bug. And these people will get they'll get notified that the bug was filed and then they'll sort it out to the person that needs to see it. And then that also means that I can copy this link and share it with you guys and you can copy yourself on the bug and we can get some movement on that. So easy peasy. And it's terrifying for me, but it's not really scary. I'm sure Barbara can attest to that.
I'll also add that a lot of those people who are automatically notified are really nice and really helpful.
Yeah, I was really scared when I first started putting them in and, felt like people would come back and say, well, it can already do that. And, or this is a duplicate. And I finally just decided to sort of just throw caution to the wind and just put it out there. And,
Yeah, and it's crazy how fast sometimes things do get fixed. Like I had one last week where I wanted to get club holds. I wanted data tables added somewhere, and I'm like, this really needs to happen. And like within the next day, it had been patched and signed off by someone else. So if you're having little problems that you think that you've been ignoring because you are nervous about filing bugs, don't be. It can benefit everyone and quickly.
I can see it's about time for me to learn ManaKB because there's so much good stuff I hear about it. And I just think, no, not something else new.
It's really cool. I turned it on for reports and there is a very cool video about when you bring in a report from the ManaKB, how to quickly like put the line breaks where they should be and boom.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find that video.
Thanks. Something else to do when I'm caught up.
It actually is very, very quick, and you can have that up and running in just a few minutes. It's one of the things that's really pretty easy.
Yeah. I'll do that. Come back with questions next month.
Sure. Oops, sorry.
Hey, Jason, I actually sent you a question about the reports on that TrackClicks. Actually, I turned it on and I ran your script and I didn't get anything. I wonder if should I add like a time frame in the report, or why I didn't get any result.
So the TrackClicks is only going to track things moving forward. It can't track clicks that have happened in the past. So I think if you go out to your OPAC right now and click one of those links and then rerun the report, you should get one result.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like a retroactive thing, but it should track the clicks moving forward.
Okay. Thank you.
I just ran it and I actually got 4 results.
Yeah, I ran it and got 36 results.
Ooh. Somebody's working, I guess.
That's exciting for how early in the morning it actually is right here. I wonder if they're off somewhere else in the world.
And that's the advantage of the analytics Yuyan was talking about, because you can see where they are in the world. I used to watch it like compulsively after we had meetings like this to see. I'd like share my OPAC for some reason to see if people from around the country were clicking my OPAC as a result of koha-US meetings. Just dumb but fun.
No, I mean, it really is. It is fun, I think, especially when you work behind the scenes, because we're all here to make our resources discoverable so that, and since in cataloging, we don't typically get a lot of interaction with users, it's one way we could see that the resources, we can see directly the resources are being used. Is that report also on the Koha wiki, Jason?
I may have taken it from the Koha wiki. I don't know. I can check.
It's interesting. I didn't get. I did 2 click on 2 links, but I didn't get a result after run the reports.
Does the report run though? Like, do you get the column headers, or do you get an error?
No error. It just says. Let me do it. It's just it's just showing nothing. There's a column like a biblionumber URL count in the bracket 1, and there's nothing below it. You know, just no result.
Yeah, that does sound like something may not be working right. I mean, it sounds like the report's running for sure, but maybe the links aren't
But
getting...
for other people, probably something wrong with like when I do select, maybe the term I should change or something. I don't know here.
Did you set your system preference to anonymous or?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know then. I would say if you can't, if you clicked around a little bit and can't get it to work, I would definitely open up a ticket with Bywater and have them take a look, because they'll be able to see what's actually going on there.
Okay, thank you.
And I see that Heather found a report on the wiki for that, so
oh, good.
Yay.
Yeah, it's there. Yay.
That means I don't have to try and figure out my wiki password again. I have a question for Barbara. You mentioned that you were having trouble with your cloud library records. Are those, did you get that working again or no?
Yes, it's partially working. I think we're down to style and that kind of thing, just the way it displays. I had done something, there's some jQuery that you can use to format like all your electronic resources. And I had used that for Overdrive and Hoopla when we had it. And I think somewhere along the line, I put that in place for Cloud Library. And so what I ended up doing was taking away the interaction of the Cloud Library. I don't know what you call it, but the actual integration, so to speak, I guess. And so all it was doing was acting like the other links. I'd click on it and it would just go to Cloud Library, not do the
actual
login,
checkouts or
the
placeholder.
checkouts and all that.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I kind of had to go back and recall how it was supposed to work. So I had to go back and watch the videos and realize that I needed to be able to get both, have a direct link to Cloud Library, but have one that was that login to Cloud Library. And I think most of it's working. It's just some style things.
We finally got it working, and I haven't worked on the styles or anything yet. Do you get these records that are like can-wish records where you can suggest the title, but it's not actually owned? Have you seen that at all?
I haven't.
It's weird. On the OPAC, when you pull it up, instead of giving like the stuff like you were talking about, placeholder checkout, it's just got can_wish and it's just text. And then when I go over to Cloud Library, it says that I can suggest that title for purchase, but we don't actually own it. So I was wondering if you'd run into that.
I haven't.
And then on the staff side, it just spins like it's got that fetching cloud availability and it just doesn't do anything. I might have to open a ticket and see if Nick has any insight on that. It'd be good if we could exclude those from the catalog because I think it might confuse people. It confused me. So I may be able to just hide them, I guess. Like since they're all consistently saying can-wish, I could probably use that to hide those records in the OPAC too. Maybe.
Do you have an example of one?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I can share my screen again here. So these are all, I just did a search for the author cloud, which brings most of them back. You can see like this one pulled it. If let me refresh the page. You can see it goes out and fetches the availability, but on this one, it's not. It just gets stuck. And same thing here. If I go to the OPAC, it like defaults to can-wish. So, and then if I go actually out to the Cloud Library, to log in so you can see what that actually looks like. I get this suggest the library button, but we don't actually own it. And that may be just something, our whole Cloud Library collection is managed by the state library. So that may be something they've turned on that you don't have turned on, so you don't have to worry about it. I just found it odd and a little confusing when I was poking around after the records came in.
Well, if I find one, I'll know who to get back to you.
Yeah.
That is very odd looking.
Well, we are really like satisfied with that, excited about it, because it gives discoverability in our catalog for those records. And the integration works great. I mean, being able to check things out directly from the catalog and place holds I think once we convince our patrons or like tell our patrons about it, spread the word, I think it's going to get more use because of it. And we did get it set up where it's just running on a cron job. So the new stuff comes in every Sunday. So
yeah, we just recently set that up. I was wondering, is there any way you can do a report to know that people are using the cloud library integration as opposed to going directly into cloud library to check their things out? Would that be the same thing like the thing you?
I don't know. I don't know if the TrackClicks would work, because I think the TrackClicks is only looking if you actually click the 856U, and this is using something else as far as I know. So I don't know. That'd be a good question for Nick.
Yeah.
Probably, since he wrote the plugin, to see if there's a way to track any statistics on it. That's all I have today, I think.
Well, hi, Anne. I'm glad you're here because previously we were mentioning to Bruce the templates for batch modification for record import, which may be useful. And then also Barbara shared a bug that looked really interesting about being able to set options for interactive Z3950 import of records.
Yeah, yes, we actually have that working. That's a local customization that we paid Catalyst to develop for us. So it works brilliantly. My team love it.
It sounds fantastic.
So we actually use the templates for 3 purposes. We have them set up same template. So we use templates for loading records through the ordinary batch process, although we have that automated too. And then we use the same templates for individual Z3950 loading of records when and if catalogers need to do that. And then we also have templates set up to use when we extract records for our customers. So we use them an awful lot. And that's one of the things that I wanted to ask is, are there any gurus out there that are real experts in creating template actions? Because I've got a lot of experience of doing this in MARC Edit, but Koha's language is not quite the same. And I'd really like to leverage off any expertise that there is out there. No?
Maybe not in this group, but
yeah.
I would reach out to Bywater.
Are we talking like XSLT?
No, not XSLT. This is the Koha Perl-derived language for creating those commands.
Okay, yeah, I don't know that we have anybody in the koha-US community that's like that deep into the code.
Right. Okay.
but I mean, it's worth putting feelers out on all the serves and stuff.
Sure. Okay.
It might be worth asking Joy Nelson at Bywater, because Joy is one of the most proficient people in MARC and data conversion that I know. So if she hasn't used them and done it, she might know who would be the Perl expert or where to locate some Perl experts.
Yeah. Right. It's just horrifying to think that I might be the international expert in this area.
You might. In which case, please consider a Kohathon presentation.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Or, KohaCon and to share and reach out, because
I've become an accidental expert in a number of things that way.
Now, which organization are you with, Anne?
I work for Wheeler's Book Supplies. So we're a vendor that supplies shelf-ready materials to public libraries throughout New Zealand.
Okay.
So I have my team work with approximately 20 or so different public libraries, with all requiring different extra, customizations applied to their records. So customization is something that we have to do an awful lot of. Yeah, so we moved to acquiring Koha to make which we're calling our Koha workspace, to enable that whole customization process to work a lot more smoothly than the process of extracting stuff from OCLC, joy, and cataloging on OCLC, even more joy, like so not. and then applying, using MARC edit to apply transformations, and then extracting, and it's so what we're looking for from Koha is a really seamless end-to-end process, where my cataloging team do our standard cataloging on the bibliographic records in Koha, and then all the customer changes are applied via template on extract. So yeah, it's working, pretty well. There's still bits that I need to fiddle with, but really happy with it overall. Yeah. And that's why some of the stuff that we've had Catalyst do for us is commercial, and we may not be releasing all of it. Yeah.
well, sometimes you intentionally develop your expertise, and sometimes you realize that expertise was thrust upon you.
Yes. So yeah, pretty much I've spent the last year defining the changes that we needed to make to the advanced editor, and then getting Catalyst in New Zealand to write them and apply them for us. And that's been a long and involved and really complex process, and not something I want to repeat again. Catalyst have been great to work with. I'm not saying that about them, but it's what, like any development process, it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps backwards, and you think, damn, I tested that last week and it was working. What's gone wrong now?
Exactly. A lot of bug hunting.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think programming is a lot like medicine. You can never do just one thing.
It's all connected.
I have a list for phase 2.
Well, does anybody have anything else they'd like to bring to the group today?
Well, I've checked everything off my Post-it notes, so I'm
All
good.
right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording then.